Hi, welcome to my channel. So I thought I'd just do a video talking about different books that are perfect for this time of the year, autumn, cozy, spooky reads. But first I'm just going to do a little current read update because the books I'm reading tie into this video because they are from my autumn TBR. So I just finished the second book in the Ever Dark, Ever Deadly series, which I am enjoying so much. I gave both of the first two books 5 stars, so that was Spellbound After Midnight and Wolfish Charms. Both perfect. The first one is a witch and a detective, so you know, witchy. They live in this cozy, magical town of, I believe it's called Ever. And then the second one follows the best friend of the witch in the first one, and there's a werewolf, and there's our werewolves, that's singular and plural. There's lots of werewolves, but there's a main wolf based on Red Riding Hood. And I'm just really having a really good time with it, and so I think that's perfect for this time of year, that series. I just finished the second book in that, and then I'm now starting, or I have started, The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Laurie Gilmore. I believe that's not her real name. I'm not sure of the author's real name. Either way, I'm having fun with that. It's just like a little short, quick romance. That was my slipper because it's one of the ones with the dots that stick to the floor. And I think it's going to be like insta-lovey, but they are still kind of building a relationship at the moment. And I'm also still reading the Pumpkin anthology that has different stories for each day leading up to Halloween. So that's what I'm reading on my Kindle. And then for my physical book, I'm reading Night Film by Marisha Pezel. This is good so far. I'm actually really enjoying this. So it's mixed media. It's got like different God, nearly lost my bookmark, like police reports and newspaper articles and message boards, forums, whatever you want to call them, throughout it. And basically there's this famous director. He's like went into hiding because his films got completely taken out of the public eye. They weren't allowed to be shown anymore because they were so horrific. And there was this man who copied one of the murders from one of these directors' films in real life. So anyway, this man went into hiding and no one's seen him for years and years and years. His films are still secretly shown in private screenings underground, but you have to like be able to find it through the dark web and certain signals put around on the street to be able to find the private screening. And basically the film's like really dark, so that's why they're not allowed to be shown. And this reporter, who is the narrator, main character that we're following, did an interview where he said that he related the director to like the likes of Charles Manson and others, and basically put the director into a light of he's a little bit creating like maybe like a culty following. So anyway, the director went into hiding, and suddenly now, so many years later, his daughter, the director's daughter, has been found dead. It's being reported as suicide, but the reporter that we're following doesn't think that that's true. So now he's going to, even though he hasn't researched about the director for years and years, he's now going to start researching him again because he's a bit wary of that it's not suicide and that something weird is going on. And I'm really enjoying it so far. So that's that one. That's Night Film. Anyway, for the main video, I'm gonna discuss some books that I'm gonna recommend for this time of year. I'm not gonna give too much info because I don't like giving spoilers. It's basically just gonna be the main info that you can find on like the back or online, but I'm telling you instead. Some people find that better than reading the descriptions. I'm just gonna give you main points. So I've not really put these into any kind of order. Maybe I should. I might. I'm gonna start with my Stephen King books. So I picked 2. I would also say a special mention to The Shining, which is a really good psychological horror. But these 2 were like my favourites, and they're 2 5 stars. I haven't actually read that many Stephen King, but I really want to, and these were really, really good. So we'll start with Cujo. So Cujo by Stephen King. This was really, really good. So obviously there's a dog, he gets rabies and he goes a bit crazy. And the main part of the story is there's this mum and his son take a car to get repaired, but no one is there other than the dog with rabies, and he basically traps them in their car because they can't leave the car because the dog's right there, and he's obviously rabid. And yeah, that's literally what the story is, but it's a 5-star read, and it's really good. It's hard to explain it in a way that sounds like there's a lot to it, but it is written so well and it's so good. I really don't want to give anything away, especially with like this one, the ending. Just, you have to read it because I can't tell you, but I wanted to scream. I wanted to, you know, the books that you just want to throw around across the room? That's what I wanted to do with this. I wanted to just get rid of it because of the ending. It was so frustrating. Anyway, also like the horror part of it is also the fact that you feel so, obviously this isn't the main horror part. The horror part is just like gory and violent, and the whole scary part of being entrapped by something so awful, but also the fact that you are introduced to the dog when he's just a nice dog, so then you feel really bad for him. Anyway, the next Stephen King one was Pet Sematary. This was the first Stephen King book I read fully, and I loved it. I remember one, because I am the kind of reader that when I read, I see movies in my head, or like the picture of what's happening, and there was one particular scene, and I'd read it just before I went to bed, and then I kept seeing it in my head when I was trying to go to sleep, and I remember just jumping up because I thought I saw the thing that was happening in my room, but it wasn't real, obviously, but it was scary. So this was good. The phone cut out, but anyway, we were talking about Pet Sematary by Stephen King. So basically this family moved to Maine, and the house is right on a roadside, so we are introduced to Judd, who is their neighbour, or like he lives across the road, and he warns them of the road and how there's a lot of fast speeding trucks that go on that road, so just to be mindful of it because the family has young children. Anyway, Louis, who is the father, gets talking to Judd and finds out about this pet cemetery that is behind the house, like a little bit into the woods, where people bury their pets and they die. Sounds simple, right? But then when the family's cat dies, Louis buries it in a different kind of pet cemetery. Judd basically takes Louis to a thing behind the main pet cemetery, and he buries his cat there, and then some weird things start happening that are really creepy and dark, and I can't really say much else, so, but it's really good. Like, if you want to get into reading Stephen King, I would say this is a good one to start with, because it's just like, it's so good. I feel like the pacing is good, the characters are good, everything's just good. And the horror in it is scary but creepy, and overall I really loved this book. I would read this again, though the shock factor when you read this again would probably not be the same. The same with Cujo. So they're the two Stephen King books I am recommending, and then I'm going to talk about the two classics I have. So I have these two. So first classic we have is Something Wicked This Way Comes by Ray Bradbury. I loved this book so much, and it's perfect for Halloween. Okay, wait, I'm gonna read the first section because you'll understand why it's perfect from just that. Like, sometimes I feel like the quotes or the start of a book is what makes me want to read a book rather than the description. Anyway. The seller of lightning rods arrived just ahead of the storm. He came along the street of Greentown, Illinois in the late cloudy October day, sneaking glances over his shoulder. Somewhere not so far back, vast lightnings stomped the earth. Somewhere a storm like a great beast with terrible teeth could not be denied. See, set in October, they're perfect. Basically there's this carnival and it comes to town in the week leading up to Halloween. And the leader, or like the owner, is called Mr. Dark. And you learn some interesting things about him. And basically these two boys who are main characters, they go to this carnival and there's some creepy things about the carnival. Not really creepy, but the background and all of it is creepy, but you don't find out what the background is unless you read it, because otherwise I'd be spoiling it. Basically there's this like carousel that can make you de-age, there's other things, and Mr. Dark basically goes around recruiting people for the carnival and getting customers, and there's certain reasons that I can't explain, but it's written so well, it's so good. Ray Bradbury's writing is just really good as well. Like, I really liked Fahrenheit 451 by him as well, but this one is my favourite. I would absolutely reread this again and again for October time. It's so good and it's just fun. It's fun, it's good, it's dark, it's everything you want. Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. This is one of my favourite classics. So it's basically just a big revenge plot story, but that's in simple terms. So basically the story is told from Mr. Lockwood being told the story of Wuthering Heights. That's how it opens and then how it ends. But the main chunk of the story, you're following, there's the two manor houses, and you have the Lintons living in Thrushcross Grange, and then you have the Earnshaws living in Wuthering Heights. And one day, Mr. Earnshaw of Wuthering Heights brings home an orphan boy called Heathcliff. His biological children, Hindley and Catherine, or Cathy, don't get along very well with Heathcliff at first, and Mr. Earnshaw tends to favour Heathcliff as well. But then one day, or eventually, Cathy starts to get on really well with Heathcliff, and they just do everything together. Hindley is now owning Wuthering Heights, but Annie like makes Heathcliff into this servant and treats him really badly. Heathcliff is still close with Cathy though, so one day they're going over to the Lintons and Cathy gets bitten by a dog, so for some reason that means she has to stay there, and while she's at the Lintons she is being taught to be a proper lady. Wait, am I telling you the whole story? I'm just so excited. Anyway, maybe I need to, yeah, I just realised maybe I'm telling you too much. But then basically this whole thing ensues and you follow Cathy and Heathcliff, Heathcliff wanting her to be who she is, and I'm recommending it for Halloween time, or like autumn month time, because it's gothic and I feel like this is the best time of year to read it. Maybe more November, but either way it's really good, and then you basically just follow them for the rest of their lives and learn more about them, and it's just so good. It's so good. Just read it. Okay, then we have Legends of Lattes by Travis Baldree. So this is just a little cozy fantasy, which it doesn't technically, I mean it does for me, it's not technically autumnal, but it is just a little cozy fantasy about a coffee shop, and for me that screams autumnal, so I don't know. But basically we have this orc called Viv, and she used to be a fighter, big sword wielding character, but she wants to hang that life up and just open a coffee shop, so she does. So we follow her opening a coffee shop, and then it gets open and she starts serving customers. There's also a little side plot of like there's this stone that's being trying to be taken from her, and it just adds a little bit of side actiony quest into it. And then you have my favourite character is Thimble, who you will love. I just know you'll love Thimble. And then you have Tangerine, so there's like a little romance there as well, and it's just cozy and fun, and there's not a lot to say about it because it's just them opening a coffee shop, but it's so fun and cute and cozy, and I love it. Then we have A Far World of Magic by Alison Saft. This is one of my favourite books ever. Alison Saft's writing is just so good in this. I haven't read anything else by her, but I definitely want to. I do own I can't remember what it's called, A Fragile Enchantment by her as well. I really want to read that because this was so good. So we follow Margaret and Wes, who are two characters that obviously it's a little bit of enemies to lovers. I have one quote tabbed. Let me read you my one tabbed quote just to get you a little bit excited for it. When she looks like this, flushed and hazy and haloed by the moon, he truly can believe God exists, and her name is Margaret Welty. I just love them. So basically, so you have Margaret. There's this thing that goes down called the Half Moon Hunt. It's to find, a legendary fox creature, and her goal is to actually take part, because if she finds it, she thinks she can bring her mum back. But to enter you need to have a team of 2. She's not friends with anyone, so she's kind of just like, well, I'm not going to be able to enter. But then in steps Wes. He has come to town to learn from Master Welty, who was her mother, because he wants to learn alchemy, and he obviously finds out she's not there, but the daughter is. It's just a really cozy, action-packed, fun adventure. It's just, Okay, and then we have The XX by Erin Sterling. The second one I have on my Kindle. I need to read it, but it's nearly the end of October. Anyway, The XX, I really loved this. If you have ever watched the Disney Channel movies Halloween Town or Twitches, it feels a bit like them, especially Halloween Town. I don't know why, it just made me feel so nostalgic for those kinds of Disney Channel movies, like the Halloween Disney Channel movies. If you've watched them, trust me, just read this book. Anyway, so we follow Viv. She's living in Graves Glen. Now, to get over a breakup, she put a curse on her ex, but hence what's called the XX, said ex comes back to town so many years later after moving away to recharge the ley lines, because he is a ancestor of the founders of the town. So when he does that, he's obviously got a curse on him, so it kind of transfers into the ley lines, which are connecting the whole town. And then bad things start happening around the town. You have like a talking cat, murderous wind-up toys, that's right. And so then Viv and him, Reese is his name, have to work together to fix the mess. And it's just a little cute witchy romance, second chance romance, and it's so good, it's so fun. So then we have The Book of Lost Things by John Connolly. This was such a good book. It's like all different fairy tale retellings in one. So we follow this 12-year-old boy called David. He loses his mother, she passes, I can't remember why, I think it was cancer, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Anyway, he's like grieving and he's really angry, and he has a lot of books in his room, and they start like talking to him. So eventually this crooked man comes and he gets taken to this land of all different mystical things. I would say my favourite character is the woodsman. I literally just opened this, here's an example, I opened this page and it literally starts with Snow White was still snoring in her bed when David and the dwarfs departed the next morning, and the spirits of the little men seemed to lift significantly the further behind they left her. Okay. It's just so good. It's like, it's just so good. There is an adventure there, and there's like darkness, there's something bad going on. It was so good. I really want to reread this now that I'm holding it. I need more people to read this, honestly. I think that you would love it. I don't know who you are, but I think you would love it, and it's just so good. There is a second one. I didn't love the second one as much as the first, but this one is so good. It's so good. Then we have The Midnight Game by Cynthia Murphy. This was the first book I read by her, and it was so good. I gave it 5 stars. So there's this group of people that talk to each other online about different horror things. They all really like horror, and one of them mentions the Midnight Man, who is kind of like an urban legend, would you call it, or like a creepypasta. And they say, well, let's meet up and do it. So they do. They meet up at a school, which is the map there, to play the Midnight Man game. And basically they have to have these matches, and if you feel the Midnight Man coming or something, you have to light a match and draw a circle around you. And they're going around the school in the dark, and it's generally really scary. Like, it's written so suspenseful, and I generally felt on the edge of my seat like the whole time. And then there's a major plot twist at the end. Honestly, the plot twist is like, oh my god, I need more people to read it. You don't see it coming, and then it ends with something that could lead into another book, but it's not been written yet. Cynthia Murphy, I'm waiting for the book that could come from the end. You know what I'm talking about. You really get to know the characters as well. Like, I really liked the characters. One of my favourites was probably May. I'm pretty sure that was her name. I haven't read this it was a while ago. Was her name May? I'm pretty sure her name was May. You know when you love a book but it's been so long that you read it, you generally just, it goes out of your brain. Anyway, all the characters themselves, honestly, like, all of them had really good characterization. The writing was really good. Like I said, generally felt on the edge of my seat. May, it is May, yeah. She was so cute. And it was just such a good book, and it's really good for like spooky vibes because it's generally scary. Good YA thriller. And last but not least, Coraline by Neil Gaiman. So if you've seen the film, it's basically like that. One major difference being that Wyborn doesn't exist in the book. He was completely made for the film. So you're just following Coraline, and she moved into this new town, and she discovers this little door in her house. It opens at one point, and when she goes through it, she goes to this world that's exactly the same as hers, except everyone has buttons for eyes. So then her other mother, which is what's the name of the mother in the world with the button eyes is called, actually has some secrets about her that I don't want to reveal. Caroline loses her parents and wants to get them back, and she knows the other mother has something to do with it, so she tells her she'll play a game, and if she wins she'll get her parents and some other things. That I can say that, yeah, she'll get basically the eyes of some ghost children she knows. I'm not going to explain the whole thing, but yeah, and if she finds them all, then the other mother will let her go and let her parents go. But if she loses, the other mother gets to sew buttons in Coraline's eyes. So then you just follow Coraline on this little adventure trying to find these little elements hidden in the world. It's just really fun. Yeah. So they're my recommendations. Obviously you could read most of these any time of the year you wanted, but if you like seasonal reading and don't know what to read, these are some good ones for right now. So anyway, they are the books that I would mostly recommend off my shelf for this time of year. There's probably like a few others that I would say, but these are what I would most recommend for if you like seasonal reading and fitting your reading in with the kind of season it is. These are really good for right now. If you are going to read any based on my recommendation, do let me know. And if you have any recommendation yourself, also let me know. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you got this far, thank you for watching, and hopefully see you again soon. Bye.